time for us to have that all-important conversation. If you've been following media reports, you know that a petition seeking to remove Jabin as special prosecutor has been forwarded to the president by the former special prosecutor, Martin Amidu. The president has subsequently forwarded it to the Chief Justice in accordance with law. What exactly does this mean? There's been a lot of social commentary in the media, on social media, and pretty much everywhere about what this means, especially in our fight against corruption. Now, questions have been asked. What are the allegations against Jabin? Do these allegations hold water? And why did the president act so swiftly in forwarding the petition to the Chief Justice, and so much more? To help us have a very detailed understanding on exactly what's happening, I'm pleased to tell you that we're joined in the studios by Ishaq Ibrahim. He's a lead lecturer in human rights law, UPSA Law School, and a private legal practitioner. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Thank you so much for joining us on the show.
Thank you for having me, and good morning to your listeners.
Amazing. Now, to get straight into it, can you tell us in very simple terms the allegations that Martin Amidu has made against Jabin?
Okay, so it's true from what we hear from the media reports that he has submitted a petition to the president seeking the removal of the special prosecutor. He has made a number of allegations. I think the first one that he alleged is that the special prosecutor unlawfully detained citizens in violation of their rights. So arrest and detention of citizens in violation of their rights. So that's the first allegation. The second allegation is that there had been a procurement breaches by the special prosecutor. I think the third one is the fact that he alleged from the press conference he had given, the special prosecutor has given previously. The allegation is that he had abused some judges and also abused the administrative of justice. And I think the final one is the allegation that he has acted unlawful in refusing to release certain information. So, in other words, violation of citizens' right to information under the Freedom of Information Act.
There are two others, if I may add. There's
Okay.
one about inducement of staff from sister law enforcement agencies.
Yes, so we've heard that, the EOCO and others, yes.
Yes, and then there's also one on accroachment of authority.
I think that one is a breach of, what they call it, procurement breaches.
Okay.
That he had not actually, the board was not properly constituted. So
Okay.
instead of the president doing that, apparently he did that.
He went ahead to do them himself.
Yes, yes.
I've been hearing this question time and time again, asked by lawyers and non-lawyers in their discussion of this matter,
Yes.
that do these allegations hold water? Are they strong enough to ask or demand for the impeachment of the special prosecutor?
It is difficult to tell because we don't know the details of it. These are just the headlines that we hear. But the details of it and the evidence are tied to it. Until we are able to see the details and the evidence, it's difficult for one to be able to tell.
Okay, but one that I hear a lot of commentary about is inducement of staff from sister law enforcement agencies.
Yes.
And this is something that, well, in regular life is very common. You set up an institution, you want to bring the best hands who are experts in your field from other institutions.
Yeah.
Is it unlawful when it comes to the Office of the Special Prosecutor and the offices that he is said to have induced staff from?
As you rightly said, it is a regular practice. So, by Office of the Special Prosecutor is a specialized agency. Perhaps their salary structure and then incentive attached to that particular office might be more attractive to other sister organizations. So I wouldn't think if one were to make a conscious decision to move from their organization to a different organization that may offer them more, there might not be anything unlawful about it. Especially as we see everyday life, people even go on secondment to work at other areas where they could have an experience. So on the face of it, you don't see anything criminal about it. As to whether it's inducement, if somebody is offering more and someone else take advantage of it, I wouldn't call that inducement. It could be, perhaps motivation might be the right way to use instead of inducement.
What is inducement?
So an inducement suggests something unlawful, perhaps something like a bribe. If somebody were to act contrary to the law, by you offering them something else. So that's my understanding of what inducement could be, something which is unlawful.
How can you prove inducement?
Well,
so I'm asking this because,
yes.
I mean, if you're poaching someone from another organization,
yes.
naturally the expectation is that you pay them more money.
Yes.
Is it possible that this more money can be considered inducement? How do you prove inducement?
In a normal everyday life, that should not be an inducement. I would probably call it a motivation. If somebody is offering more, let's assume a private sector, there's nothing wrong with leaving A and going to B because B is promising to pay more.
Okay.
Yes.
But in the public sector,
yes.
is that allowed?
No, it should be okay. People should be able to change jobs freely.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
And another issue that has received a lot of attention in the allegations is the abuse of the judiciary.
Yes.
And reference is made to that press conference.
Yes.
In November, where he made that popular statement from the Aquanoma.
Okay. Yes.
Yeah. The Lonely Bird song.
Yes.
Does that press? I'm sure you saw the press conference.
I've watched the press conference.
And probably
yes, when it was going on live, I had the opportunity of watching it. Yes.
In your understanding, and without attempting to do the job
yes.
of the Chief Justice,
yes.
in your understanding, does that constitute abuse of the judiciary?
Looking at the press conference alone, I wouldn't think so, because we are not saying that the judiciary is beyond criticisms, because sometimes they do criticize each other. If you look at previous cases, for example, the famous case of Solomon and Solomon, as students of company law might come to know, the decision that was taken by the Court of Appeal, when it got to the House of Lords, the House of Lords criticized the Court of Appeal judges for taking a moralistic stand when it comes to separate corporate personality. There's a famous case of Liverpool versus Addiston, a famous UK case, whereby a House of Lords judge criticized his colleague judges for being executive-minded than the executives themselves. So the judiciary is not above criticism. As to what he did rise to a level that one would probably say it went above, I wouldn't think so. Because the judiciary themselves criticize themselves. So if the special prosecutor feels strongly that some members of the judiciary are putting obstacles on his way to fight corruption, I think in the interest of democracy and the interest of fighting corruption, he should be able to make it clear.
Okay. So, in your opinion, it's not. But what will actually constitute an abuse of the judiciary?
Well, I think it's a very high bar. I mean, he being a lawyer of more than 12 years standing, that is precisely the very reason why he's chosen as a special prosecutor. For example, if the court were actively dealing with a particular case, and he seeks to influence the way they are supposed to do their job, it is not only going to be a contemptuous statement, that could also constitute the abuse of the judiciary. But what he said, I mean, what I saw in that particular press conference, I don't think it rises to that level where one could allege that he actually abused the judiciary.
Okay. Sometimes when you think about situations like this, it appears there's a bit of difficulty. Yeah. Let me explain. For a public officer like Issei Jabin, who wants to keep the public informed about his work and what he's doing, as the public has the right to know, versus being careful not to comment on ongoing cases. Yeah. How exactly is a public official like him supposed to balance the two? Keeping the public informed without necessarily touching on the merits of the case.
Okay. Yeah, if you look elsewhere, put Ghana aside, if you look elsewhere, like Ken Starr, impeachment trial, investigation of Bill Clinton one, he was regularly engaging with the press.
Yes.
And I think as a public official with the public right to know, that occasions whereby he could inform us. But as I said, if the purpose of informing the public is to seek to influence the way the judiciary should make decisions in certain cases, then that will be a problem, because we want also an independent judiciary that will be able to make decisions without public pressure or an individual seeking to influence their decisions. So that will be the balance area, the right for us to know and the right for the judiciary to make an impartial decisions.
Is it possible at all for him to make comments which would not influence the administration of justice?
Yes, I think
if he comments on an ongoing case.
Yes, I think if there are general comments without specific, that should be fine.
That should be fine.
Yes.
All right. Now, I want us to look at the process that this petition to the president will go through if, of course, the Chief Justice is able to find that prima facie case. So let's just take a look at the roadmap. So from when it's begun. Yeah. So if you could just take us through this. Can you see? It's too small.
I can see, but okay, so, I can see from that particular part. Yes. So all right. So Martin Amidu sent a petition on April 30th to the president. Yes.
The president then forwarded this petition to the Chief Justice on the 6th of May.
Yes.
Now, the Chief Justice also has forwarded the petition to the Office of the Special Prosecutor for his comments.
Yes.
Now, according to the law, the Chief Justice is supposed to set up a committee of 3, which you would tell us who exactly should constitute this 3-member committee within 14 days. Yeah. Now, the committee has 90 days to work on this petition if, of course, a prima facie case is determined by the Chief Justice. And then the committee is supposed to submit their findings after their 3-month period of deliberation to the president. And the president is supposed to act in accordance with the recommendations of the committee at the end of the day. So please explain to us in detail. We know we are at the point where the president has forwarded the petition to the Chief Justice.
Yes.
We don't see where the Chief Justice is required to send the petition to the Special Prosecutor for his comments. Is that a requirement?
Yes. So, as you rightly said, from your introduction, you make mention about the president swiftly sending the petition to the Chief Justice. It wasn't actually swiftly, because if you look at the petition was presented on the 30th, and then the Act, I think Section 15 of the Act, of the Special Prosecution Act, said he has 7 days of which he must transmit it to the Chief Justice. Yes. He actually did it on the last day. So having forwarded to the Chief Justice, according to the Act, the Chief Justice have 30 days within which to consider whether there is a prima facie case that requires further investigations.
Before you move on to the next point, can you explain exactly what a prima facie case is? So
a prima facie case usually means on the face of it, is there any case for him to answer? If there is, then he would he would constitute a special panel to investigate it. Now, as it's rightly said, he forwarded it to, what did they call him? The Special Prosecutor for his comments. Yes, so if you look at on the face of it, you might think that it is actually inappropriate for him to ask him to comment. He should have made a decision based on that. But there's a popular case called Paul Derry case versus that of Tiger Eye and that of the former Chief Justice, where the court says that the decision that the Chief Justice is meant to make is what we call quasi-judicial decision making. And with that, it comes with the requirement of fair hearing as well as natural justice. And when fair hearing and natural justice come to play, then it will be fair to give hearing to the other side where the case is against. So it is actually in the interest of natural justice and fair hearing for the Special Prosecutor to comment on the case against him.
So may I just ask, based on what you have just said, do you think that the law, the OSP Act, there's an omission in Section 15, as you mentioned, that the process, the stated process, omits the requirement of natural justice, so that if a case is brought like this, the Special Prosecutor should be given the opportunity to comment on it?
Not exactly that. The point I'm trying to make is that the court in that particular case, in Paul Derry versus that of Tiger PI, the court explained that prima facie case doesn't mean he cannot ask the other partner to comment. Because when the Chief Justice is asked to make a decision, it's a form of quasi-judicial decision making. And if it is a quasi-judicial making, then the principle of natural justice and fair hearing comes into play. So once it comes into play, then you must hear from the other side before such a decision can be made.
All right.
So there's with that particular case, there's nothing wrong with the Chief Justice asking the special prosecutor to make a comment. It might actually help to clarify and kill the petition at that particular point.
All right. But
yes.
just for the purpose of public understanding,
yes.
if the Chief Justice had not asked
yes.
Kisei Jabin to
yes.
comment on this,
yes.
because the statute prescribing how
yes.
this should be handled does not require it,
yes.
would there have been said to be an unfairness on her part? Or it would have been all right since the statute did not require it?
No, I think that would be inappropriate because the court had the opportunity to clarify that particular side. So when we say prima facie, it might mention prima facie, but the court is there to clarify it. Okay. So when there's a precedent, I think it would be inappropriate for the Chief Justice not to ask the special prosecutor to comment.
All right. This case you are referring to, was it in reference to the special prosecutor?
No, it wasn't. But it doesn't really matter whether it's a precedent is transferable to other areas.
All right.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you for the clarification.
Okay.
All right. So now the special prosecutor has been asked to comment. What next?
So if he's asked to comment, so that means that the 30 days that the Chief Justice had would have probably terminated. And the Chief Justice would now have 14 days. If he thinks there is still a prima facie case for further investigation to take place, he has 14 days to constitute a panel to be able to investigate the particular allegations.
And who should constitute this panel?
I think the Act made it clear 3 members of the judiciary, the Superior Court, so that would be a High Court and above, and that of Regional Tribunal. But Regional Tribunals are now defunct, so we don't really have them anymore. So 3 justices of the Superior Court, plus other people who are not lawyers or members of Parliament can constitute. I think 2 additional people would add. Yes.
Okay. So when they constitute this panel, they will determine the matter.
They will investigate it, yes.
They will investigate the matter and make a determination.
Yes.
And then give the president their findings.
They have 90 days within which to do that.
Now, when the president is presented with their findings, is he bound by the report? Absolutely.
Yes. I think from the wording of that section, I think subsection 4 or 5, I'm not really sure.
Would you like me to read it for you?
Yeah, section 15.
All right. So it says that where the Chief Justice determines that there's a prima facie case, okay, we've gone past that.
Yes.
Now, 15:4:6 says the president shall act in accordance with the recommendations made by the committee.
Exactly. So they will make the recommendation to the Chief Justice, who will then forward it to the president. From the wording of it, the president is merely a vessel within which to operate.
Okay.
Conveyor belt. So shall is a command word. That suggests to me that the president have no discretion other than to follow the recommendations. That is right or said.
Yeah. So he basically would be informed, and then he will subsequently inform us. He doesn't have a say in the matter.
No, he will just act according to the way the recommendation asks him to act.
All right. How long would this process take? Let's look at both instances.
Yes.
In the case where the Chief Justice determines that there is a prima facie case, and where she determines after hearing back from the special prosecutor that there's no prima facie case to be determined. Yes.
So the timeline is very clear, as is rightly stated.
Okay.
If they determine that there's no prima facie case, he will inform the petitioner, that of Martin Amido, that there is no prima facie case, and therefore the process will terminate here. But if he determines there is a prima facie case, then he has to constitute that particular panel within 14 days, as we've already said. And then once the panel is charged with the case, then they have 90 days within which to make their recommendation, to do their investigations and come out with their recommendation, which would then be forwarded to the Chief Justice. The Chief Justice would then forward it to the President. That side, the law is not very clear as to when the President should act. So in that instance, we don't know when the President would act.
But reasonably, is there any precedents that we can rely on how soon to expect the president to act?
I'm not really sure. Usually the lawyers love the word within a reasonable time. So I think 2-3 months could be a reasonable time. But I'm not aware of any precedent that required the president to act within that period. But they usually say within a reasonable time.
Okay.
And that could be 3 months.
Okay.
Yes.
Now, with all you know, both legally and on the ground,
yes,
how can we make the Office of the Special Prosecutor work to be able to deliver his mandate of fighting corruption and corruption-related activities?
Yes, how can we make him work? I mean, this is a difficult issue because the subject matter we are talking about is a difficult issue. Fighting corruption is not easy. We are trying to get a bite at it. Other countries that are even successful, the advanced countries, have made it difficult. So I think from this petition and the number of allegations that have been leveled, I think there should be a room for the special prosecutor to make mistakes and correct them for the sake of us building a stronger institutions. So to make it work with simple means that government and citizens would try to cooperate with the special prosecution and give him the necessary support that he needs. I think the arts have already given him powers. If you look at some of the powers he has, they are more or less like police powers. Even detention, as he said, he has the power to even arrest and detain. So I think cooperation could help. Okay. Yes.
We need to cooperate with him.
Yes, we need to cooperate.
And give him room to make mistakes.
Yes, yeah, and resources as well. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Especially seeing as his predecessor resigned.
Yes.
And now his predecessor is asking for him to be impeached.
To be impeached, yes.
What does that make, what should we make of this, especially with our fight against corruption?
Yes.
If the first person to ever hold the role resigned,
yes,
the second person to hold the role, there's a petition to remove him by the first person who held the role.
Yes.
What does that say about us and our determination, really, to fight corruption?
Yes. So when I first heard the petition was made by Matanami, that really surprised me, especially him being a member of the opposition, coming out with this and then immediately also bringing it against his successor. If I were in his position, he's much more experienced. He's more or less like a fatherless figure to me. Nevertheless, if I were in his position, I wouldn't do it. But as a citizen and as a human rights advocate, he still have the right to do it. But it's not every right that you have that you may choose to exercise it. If I were him, I would not probably exercise that particular right, because the fact that it's coming from him will further muddy the waters. But as to whether that alone will be enough to obstruct him, I think if generally there are merit in the case, there's a need for them to look into it. Nevertheless, yes, it will discourage people in their attempt to fight corruption if it turns out that those allegations are not true. But if they are true, why not? Let the law take its course. That's what I think.
I was listening to a lawyer and two non-lawyers discussing this matter on radio. Yeah. And one of them said that if she were the special prosecutor, she'd just resign and leave this matter alone. Because if you follow some of the comments he's made, especially at that November press conference, it appears he's frustrated in his fight against corruption. Yes. And now that, you know, after that press conference, he seems to have, you know, gone on to continue his work, and now he's asking to be impeached. Should he decide to resign also? I think if I were him, I wouldn't resign, especially if I know for sure that I've done nothing wrong. But to resign means that you are probably stopping the process that would have actually ended up in clearing you. So for the sake of, for his own reputation, I wouldn't probably resign. If the whole idea is to get you out of the way and they make false allegations against you, I would want the process to run up to an end for my name to be cleared. All right. If you could advise, maybe the president or whoever, on, especially considering how things have been from Special Prosecutor 1 to Special Prosecutor 2 and what's going on, what advice would you give them on how to properly equip the Office of the Special Prosecutor to work? Would you make them immune from certain mistakes or activities which, like these ones, which have been brought against them, so that they'll have the focus to be able to work properly in their fight against corruption? Yes.
I've read and I've heard other people advocating for certain level of immunity. When it comes to individual rights, as writers say, I'm a human rights law lecturer, and rights are such a way that they are so fundamental. If he is clearly breaching people's rights and intentionally. I don't think such things he can have immunity on them. Okay. Having said that, a rights will need to be balanced with certain things.
Yeah.
And the balancing act will be if it is in the national security. Sometimes the courts have also said that even the economic well-being of the country will need to be balanced by individuals' rights. So having said that, it means that he still has some room to make minimal mistakes.
Okay.
If those mistakes hasn't rise up to the level that one could call them serious. In that respect, every individual, not just the president, every citizen, it will be in our best interest, we cooperate with him.
All right.
Yeah.
So we should cooperate with him and make it work.
Make it work,
and
yes.
he should not resign, as people are advising him to do.
I don't think
all
so.
over the place. He should not resign. He should stay and continue the work. And if it's possible, if it is possible, allow the special prosecutor some immunity so that he can continue to do his work and focus. I'm
not sure whether the right word would be immunity. Because, as I said, if he's clearly and intentionally violating individuals' rights, immunity might not be appropriate. But minor infractions one can overlook and ask him to do it.
Okay. I ask this question because of the immunity. Is that the word for that the president also enjoys while he's president?
Yes.
So he can continue to do his work.
Yes.
He's allowed some leeway.
But it doesn't mean the president enjoy complete immunity. It's just that you cannot bring a case against him whilst in the office.
Okay.
But the moment he leaves office, he doesn't enjoy those immunities. So you could bring those charges against the president. Okay. So the president, speaking, is not really enjoying immunity. Perhaps you can call them temporal immunities.
Temporal immunity.
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, according to the Constitution.
All right.
Yes, because we want to give him the peace of mind to do his work. Unless, of course, we are advocating that do not bring a case against special prosecutor, but the moment his term of office, which I understand is 7 years, you could bring a case. I'm not sure whether he should enjoy similar thing as a president, because president almost everywhere, we've seen them enjoying those immunities, because running the country is very, very important for us.
And so is fighting corruption.
Yes, but there is a clear difference between the two. Right. You could be taking the president to court, giving him that kind of hurdle on him, whilst another country declare war in Ghana, God forbid. Yes. Who do you want to be making those decisions?
Exactly.
Or if there's any emergency. So the special prosecutor doesn't face similar problems that the president might. It doesn't really matter this president or any other future president for that matter. We need to give him room to be able to protect us as a country.
All right. This has been good.
Okay.
Thank you so much,
Thank
Mr. Ishaq Ibrahim.
Thank you.
He is a lead lecturer in human rights law at UPSA Law School and a private legal practitioner. We've been talking about, in simple terms, about this petition to remove the special prosecutor. I hope that all your questions have been answered. Still to come, we're going to be talking about the free fall of the cedi, the rise of the dollar, and how Aboso Kai spare parts dealers are handling the situation and how they're doing. Stay tuned. But before we go, remember, Mother's Day is over, but the month of May is still with us. That means that you can still do something good for your mother, all right? Celebrate Mother's Day in grand style with a luxurious getaway at Maha Beach Resort and treat your mom to an unforgettable experience on our special Mother's Day package. Now, this includes a dreamy room package. It's a setup for breakfast, lunch and dinner, free local drinks, 15% discount on your spa, family movie and cinema day with free popcorn, free access to all our in-house facilities, activities, free airport pickup services from Friday to Sunday. Of course, you know terms and conditions apply. So you can book now and make Mother's Day a very memorable one for your woman, your mother, your sister, your friend, your bestie, whoever. Give us a call on 050-1570-684 or 030-397773 for more information on how you can get a reservation. Of course, if you want to upgrade your room also, requests will be honored, of course, if it's available. So you can call us, terms and conditions apply. You will get absolutely 100% perfect service for this woman. And once you pay, by the way, it's non-refundable, so you have to go. So reserve today and go and make that woman happy. Stay tuned. When we come back, we will cash out. And we've got some cool birthday wishes also for you if it's your birthday today. Stay tuned.